guys, welcome to another baking vlog because it's the holidays. So now we're baking for Christmas and I'm again gonna be making more cookies. I don't even like baking cookies, guys. I hate baking cookies actually. It's like one of my least favorite things to bake. I've never been good at baking cookies. So my best friend named CJ, when we were in high school, we were culinary students together. She would bake these really amazing chocolate chip cookies and I would always be like, oh my god, these are so good, teach me how to make them. She gave me her recipe and we spent like 5 months trying to teach me how to make them the way that she makes them, and it never turned out. And so ever since then, I've just had this inferiority complex about cookies. But now I have to develop a cookie recipe. Pa-chow. Pooh. Hi everyone, my name is Binh. I'm a pastry chef and today I'm going to show you how to bake like a pastry chef instead of a noob, a novice master pastry chef. My credentials, I have a degree in pastry arts. I've been in the culinary industry for the last 7 years. Just trust me. Don't worry about it, just trust me. Tip number 1. These are Cambros. You can get them at your local restaurant department store, or you can get them at your Costco business centers, or you can buy them off Amazon, which will be linked down below in the description. If you're really looking for a place to store flour, sugar, and you don't want to buy like cheap sets, I recommend this one because it's the industry standard and then you can always find them again. And so you don't ever have to worry about mismatching sets. I hate buying something and then losing one of the set and then never being able to complete the set again. So you don't have to worry about that. Secondly, they're made of food-safe plastic and they come with lids. I'll show you guys the lid in a bit after I refill this Cambro. Even if you're not a pastry chef or you don't care about the culinary industry, if you're a new homeowner and you just want like a nicer kitchen, I literally recommend getting these. Because people come over and then they're like, oh my god, you're so cool, are you a chef? And no, you just watch my channel, you know? Come in a little lid and then you can like stack other ones on top of each other. That's great, that's amazing. I'm gonna cream my butter with a palette attachment. Pastry chef tip number 2, big silicone spatulas that are heat resistant. So these have been my recent favorite spatulas. Was a Christmas gift to myself. Also linked down in my Amazon storefront. We're using a palette attachment because you don't actually want too much air into it, but you want to be able to like make the batter smoother. Let's measure out my sugars and then dump the sugar into the mixer. Sheesh, that's a shit ton of sugar, guys. Making cookies and American desserts, I always get so surprised how much sugar there is in everything. Ugh. Ugh. Nice. Ooh, that really hurt my wrist so bad. Ooh. Okay, moving on. Let's measure out the rest of the sugar. The holiday season is always a blur for me. I'm baking and cooking so much. And then I'm gonna wipe down the sides. Being a pastry chef means that you don't overlook the small details and you really have that patience and that passion to take care of all the small and annoying steps that truly make the world of a difference. Okay, so in here, then when you're scraping down the bowl, don't forget to scrape down the sides. I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing right now, but I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, right? That looks pretty cream to me. All right, moving on. We're gonna crack in the eggs into the butter, and once the eggs are fully incorporated, we're gonna add the flour into the butter mixture, add in our vanilla extract, and then add in our chocolate chips. And that should be it. So honestly, this step I never do, but I know it's very important when you're working in very large quantities, is to actually just break every egg into its own bowl and then put it into your big batch, just so that if you have one egg that has gone bad, you don't ruin your entire batter. We're gonna put the eggs into the egg mixture. It's time to scrape down the sides of the bowl and at the bottom. As you can see, there's some egg at the bottom that hasn't fully mixed in, so that is why we scrape the sides and the bottom of the bowl. I'm gonna teach you guys how to clean off your paddle attachment. I know like we'll sell a lot of gadgets and stuff, but it's really so simple. You just take your hands and you pinch it. You don't need any tools and gadgets and gizmos. You know, like it's like your God-given fingers, but I'm like your Buddha-given finger. Oh my God, never mind. Cut the joke, I stuttered. Okay, and then I'm just going to rinse off my hands, dry them, and then we're gonna move on. Keeping your hands clean is very important because if your hands are dirty, then all the other equipment, ingredient containers that you touch are gonna be dirty and it's just gonna be a whole mess. I need to add vanilla extract. Where's my vanilla? Real vanilla extract only. Pure vanilla extract, none of that imitation vanilla. From here, we're gonna add it into our flour mixture. I'm making 8 times a regular batch right now, and most people baking at home will probably never have to do this in their life. Try to get the bowl as clean as possible. Ooh. I'm actually gonna do this with a bowl scraper and my hand. Okay, we're gonna put some chocolate chips in. Batter is not fully mixed in yet, so we're gonna do half chocolate chunks and half chocolate chips. And this, my friend, is Couverture chocolate. This is amazing chocolate. Highest quality chocolate is Couverture. Yes, please. All of the cookie doughs measured out with this 2-ounce scooper. Oven's been preheating. I started preheating it when I was scooping it out. My ovens are pretty old, so they do take a long time to preheat and they're not that accurate. I need them to be at 350, so I'm actually gonna bump it up to 400. A lot of the times what people don't realize is that it's their ovens that are messing up the recipe because all ovens are so different, and if you don't use your oven a lot, it might not be calibrated correctly. Fun fact, you can calibrate an oven. You just buy some oven thermometers, set it to a certain temperature, see if the temperature in the oven actually is what it says it's supposed to be. If you look up the brand of your oven, you can bring up like a manual and then it will tell you a code to input on your keypad that will take you into like the configuration part of an oven. It's really cool. It's very interesting. I'm going to just take these, put them onto some sheets with parchment paper. Probably do like 8 to a sheet and then go from there. Pachow. Look how cute. I really like this recipe. I just cried because I'm so tired and I'm a little stressed out because we still have another batch of cookies to make. So we're gonna do the ube and then we are going to do the madeleines and we're gonna pack all the cookies and then I can go sleep. Okay, let's go. We're only gonna make half the amount that we made the matcha cookies because we don't need as much ube cookies. I actually have to do it by hand because it's a little too late. There's people sleeping now, so I can't use my stand mixer. So we're gonna pull out our handy dandy immersion blender that came with a whisk attachment. I got this also on Amazon, so it's also linked down below. If you guys don't have space or the money for a big stand mixer, honestly, this is like really all you need for small baking things. Immersion blender is truly a lifesaver. I never really liked the idea of a handheld whisk because the ones that I had growing up just sucked. So for the longest time, I was like a handheld whisk hater. But ever since I got this immersion blender, I don't use that much unless I'm doing like really large batches. This is so easy to take in and out. So we're gonna add the half melted butter into here and then we're gonna whip it up with the immersion blender. Okay, let's measure out the sugar. Okay, switching to brown sugar. Sugar's both in, now we're gonna mix it up. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to measure out all of our flours. Okay, so we finished the ube cookie dough and then I took some time to clean up my entire work area, put away all my flour, put away all my stuff, just because baking at this scale really takes a lot of calmness. And if your workstation is messy and dirty, it can make the entire process a lot more stressful. You really want to prioritize taking the time to clean and tidy up your area. So this cookie dough is a lot more moist than the matcha one, so we are going to only bake 6 per tray. With the matcha one, we did 8 per tray, but I have a feeling these will spread a tiny bit more. This dough is definitely a lot stickier. Sticky! Moving on. Okay, I'm just gonna do all of these. I'll show you guys what they look like after the oven. In the meantime, my boyfriend is packaging the matcha cookies for me because I had a mental breakdown. So my boyfriend came down to help me out. So this is what Chan's up to. All the ube and matcha cookies are done. Now I'm going to kind of clean up the area while all the ube cookie cools down, and I'm gonna start on melting the white chocolate to dip my madeleines. Hello guys, it's 4 a.m. I finished everything and I went upstairs and laid in bed for 30 minutes because I'm so tired. So we're just taking breaks in between. But let me show you guys the Ube cookies and then the madeleines that we dipped in white chocolate. I'm just gonna put everything in packaging, clean up, and then go to bed and play TFT in bed on my iPad. I'm very happy with how these cookies turned out. I personally love cookies like this, and I think aesthetically cookies like this look so cute, so nice. And then here are the madeleines. They're not that cute. This is white coating chocolate, and then halfway through I mixed in some actual white chocolate, but I didn't want to mix in too much because I didn't know how the temper was going to be. Let me show you guys the boxes. These aren't done yet. We still have to put the Ube cookies in. They have the Pop Cafe logo, and if you guys are like, what's Pop Cafe? It's actually the cafe that I am opening up right now in Las Vegas in Spring Mountain. Oh, so this is new information. This is actually the first time we're announcing it. Take your phone and click on this QR code. It'll take you to our Instagram page. Pachow, pachow. Our cookies over here that I will be giving to family. All of the boxes done. My lovely boyfriend wiped down the counter just now, and all the dishes are washed. All the sheet pans are washed, and then I always store them in the oven because the residual heat should dry them for me. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go upstairs and play TFT now. Goodbye, love you. It's literally 4:30 a.m. Hello everyone, it is currently 1:30 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and I am down here in the kitchen with my cup of hot hojicha that I got from Vietnam. You guys can see but my boyfriend. The moment I start recording going,
I can't be the hot, mysterious boyfriend anymore.
be goofy and hot, okay?
But mysterious. The allure of it.
Down here at 1:30 a.m. on Christmas Eve to make some Texas Roadhouse bread for dinner tomorrow. When you go to pastry school, something that you also have to learn how to make is breads. So there's a class and all you do is make breads of the world. But even before I took that class, growing up, I always enjoyed making bread because it's one of the only things that I enjoy eating from the pastry world because I don't really eat sweets a lot. So the first step that we're going to do, I'm going to mise en place, which basically means measure out all my ingredients so I don't have to stress about it when I actually start the baking process. I'm just gonna pull up a recipe that I found online for Texas Roadhouse copycat bread. If this turns out really well, I'll link it in the description for you guys. I'm gonna double the recipe, but I don't wanna make too much. I also don't even know if I have enough yeast. So let's measure out the yeast first and go from there. 8 teaspoons of yeast. Fun fact, 3 teaspoons is 1 tablespoon. So I need 2 tablespoons and 2/3. I think every yeast packet is like 2 3/4 teaspoon. Someone fact check me. I need 236 grams of water. 2 teaspoons of sugar to activate the yeast. When each sugar releases gas, I think it releases CO2, and that's what makes things bubbly. Okay, that should be 4. I'm gonna give her a mix, and then we're gonna let her sit for 10 to 15 minutes to make sure that she is active. While we let this sit, we're gonna measure out everything else. So we're supposed to scald and then cool it down to lukewarm. I'm guessing that's gonna make it sweeter because when you scald milk, caramelizes the sugar inside it or some shit like that. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've been in culinary school. I pray I have enough milk. I do not have enough milk. It's not really a big deal. I'm just gonna put some oat milk in there and add a little extra butter because like at the end of the day, what is milk if not fat and some liquid? I feel bad because there's only a very small amount of oat milk left, but like I'm not gonna drink it and I don't wanna waste it. So I put it back in the fridge, but it feels wrong too, you know? So while that's going on, I'm gonna measure out all of the dry ingredients into this bowl. And because it's late, I do have a stand mixer and preferably this recipe should be done on a stand mixer, but I'm just gonna do it by hand because I don't wanna wake up anyone who's sleeping right now. When you're making bread, the amount of flour that you see in a recipe is always a suggestion. Things like humidity, elevation can change how much moisture and flour you're actually going to need in your dough. I'm going to measure out the amount that it tells me, but when I actually make my dough, I'm going to gauge by ear. I live in Las Vegas, very, very dry climate. I might not need as as much flour as the recipe calls for. This is a shit ton of flour. Oh my god. This is gonna be a lot of bread, which is fine. If there's any extra, I'll bring over to my family. That's kind of like my mentality whenever I make stuff. And maybe that's why baking sometimes stresses me out so much, because I'm always like, well, if I'm baking, let me just make a lot. But I think the fact that I make things in such large quantities is very stressful. I need 6 tablespoons of butter. It says it needs to be slightly melted, so I'm gonna pop it in the microwave. It's a little penile, doesn't it? So this is how you know your yeast is active. If you don't see bubbly action, throw it away, because you don't want to waste your time doing a whole bread recipe for the yeast to not work. I have to measure out the sugar. I think 1 cup is 113 grams. This is half a cup, so this should be around 57 grams. Nope, I was wrong. Half a cup is 113 grams. Something I'm trying to memorize this year is my cups to gram measurements, just so I can have that like kind of in my brain to feel more confident when I'm baking. Just pastry chef things. I'm gonna say that's 2 teaspoons and call it a day. So the milk has reached the scalding point. I'm just going to put it into the sugar. Just kind of have it dissolve the sugar, because it does need to like cool down anyways before I can really add the yeast, or it'll kill it. I'm back with my handy dandy big spatula. While this is cooling down, I do want to talk to you guys and chat a little bit. I've been thinking about what type of YouTuber I want to be, what type of content creator and storyteller that I want to be. This is what good pussy sounds like, guys. Reflecting on my 2024 year, I would definitely say that 2024 has been very good for me. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I'm like feeling a lot healthier in my body. I used to not be able to walk 20 minutes without being out of commission for the entire day. And it got to the point where I thought I had like an autoimmune issue. My joints would get very irritated and swell. But I recently found out that it's because a lot of my supporting muscles aren't doing a really good job at supporting my bones and my joints. So I've really been focused on working out those little muscles. Now I do have some days where it's actually quite difficult to do physical stuff, but most of the time I feel pretty healthy. I also figured out that what was causing a lot of my mental distress was actually my period and allergies and food intolerances that I was eating, because I was unaware that I had food intolerances. So now I don't really eat anything with milk and dairy, because I found out I was lactose, and I avoid my allergy and I avoid seafood, and I'm feeling a lot healthier because of it. I still have stomach problems here and there, but definitely a lot better than what it was a year or two ago. Honestly, what you eat is so important to your mental health. So if you guys are like depressed and shit, start working out. Start eating healthy if that doesn't make you feel better, and go to your doctor. I would hate for you guys to feel depressed, go to a doctor, and then they just put you on meds, or worse, they put you on birth control. And then you're just spending the next few years feeling even worse. And then after you get off those meds or get off those birth control, then you have to deal with like the side effects of coming off of those meds, because trust me, there are side effects. For the love of God, if you guys feel like shit and you guys feel sick all the time, you guys feel blah, 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 work out and eat right, get some sun, have a good support system. And then if you're still fucked up in the brain somehow, then go to the doctors to get those meds. Like, moral of the story, don't use medication as your first, but that's my non-professional opinion. That's just my opinion as someone who had to deal with a lot of medical issues, physical issues, emotional, mental issues, and what worked for me. This has cooled down enough. I'm gonna add the butter. With how hot the milk is, I don't feel like we even need to melt down the butter. I'm not really sure why we need to do that. Very important tip when making bread, do not put salt inside the yeast or near the yeast, because it will kill it. Okay, time to add in our eggs. Just to cool it down a little bit more before I add the yeast, because I am actually pretty worried about killing the yeast with heat. So let me just add a bit of flour in to cool it down. Let's add in some yeast. Oh my god. Oh my god, this yeast is yeasting. Let's mix this all up. Yeah. Sorry, she squared on you guys. Let me just double check that I put every single thing in. The sugar, I actually need double the sugar. The recipe reset itself. Let's put in the rest of the flour. I'm gonna leave a little bit just in case I don't need it. So my goal for 2024 was to really figure out my health, and I do feel like I accomplished that. Now I just gotta keep working at it. I think my goal for 2024 is to get into a good sleeping schedule. My sleeping schedule gets messed up a lot, but it's mostly due to my hormone changes right before I start my period because I get very anxious and I can't sleep. We need the rest of the flour, so I'm gonna add that in. Okay, I'm gonna add a few more cups of flour. I'm gonna grab my trusty handy bowl scraper and get all this dough and flour out of the bowl. We're also gonna use the bowl scraper to get everything off the spatula. And then we're going to start kneading. Kneading is one of my favorite pastimes. You want to knead dough because you're trying to build gluten, and gluten is what gives dough structure. Yeast creates bubbles, but you need the gluten to be strong enough to hold those bubbles in and not collapse when you're baking. So kneading, what you do want to avoid is actually tearing the dough. This is definitely much easier to do with a stand mixer. My mindset is every single physically demanding thing is just another opportunity to work out, you know? Life is all about perspective. Remember to engage your core. So I'm gonna actually stray from the recipe, and I'm not going to proof this right now for 2 hours. I'm actually going to cold proof it overnight. So in the morning, I'm going to take it out, take it to room temperature, shape it, proof it again, and then bake it. Because this is a lot to do day of. Can you see how differently the dough is moving now? We have started to develop gluten in it. Now because this is going to cold proof in the fridge overnight, it's still going to develop gluten. The moment flour touches water, the process of gluten starts forming. So you can have gluten form by time or by force with kneading. And so we'll be doing both. So I don't have to worry about it being kneaded too well just because we're doing a cold proof. If I want to bake this in a few hours, I would definitely want to build more gluten and knead it more. This is definitely a workout, guys, but that's okay. I worked out legs before coming down here to bake, so I'm getting my arm workout in too. The way you can check if you have enough gluten is called the window pane test. If you can stretch it and kind of like see your hand through the light without it ripping, and I can barely do it and still ripping, but should be fine because I am cold proofing it for 12 hours. So the gluten can finish developing in there. But you guys see how it's not sticking to the table anymore? It's because the gluten has enough structure that it is sticking to itself. And that is exactly what we're looking for. Let's form this into a ball. You bring everything in from the sides, like that, a smooth surface. And then you take the dough, you apply a lot of pressure downwards and in, and you twist the dough. And this is gonna create a lot of tension. This is also how you create tension for sourdough. This is also how you make a dough ball. Guys, so I just went to the outside fridge to make space for this, and I was moving a lot of stuff around. I accidentally spoiled my Christmas gift that Jen bought for me because it was in the fridge, hiding under stuff. Oopsies. For me, he's like, oh my god, yay, but now the surprise is ruined. So I'm gonna put avocado oil at the bottom and then drizzle some on top. Okay, so we're gonna plastic wrap this and then stick this in the fridge overnight. I kind of feel really sad because I love surprises, man. That's the joy of Christmas for me but now it's like, do I tell him? Do I go upstairs and tell him that I found out? Or do I like wait and just act surprised tomorrow and tell him tomorrow? I'll bring you guys outside and show you guys where I saw my gift. I cleared this whole area and I saw it. That is hojicha. Interesting. Now, why would my boyfriend get me hojicha? Because I've been on a matcha bin. So I wonder if there's matcha and hojicha. Fudge! Pulled my own Christmas gift. I'm literally drinking hojicha right now. Okay, I'm gonna clean up and probably head to bed, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Okay, so it's the day of, and you know I just have to play some Christmas jazz while I cut out these bread rolls and then proof them in the oven. Because the house is cold, I am going to steam up my oven with some hot water. This is going to speed up the proofing process because I'm in a time crunch to get this done for dinner. It's dinner time. Ka-chow.
This is the background?
Okay, I'll show them the dress later at the tree.
I was like,
Hi, my bread. We have ham, Filipino desserts, shrimp that I can't eat that I probably will eat one of, a roast, prime rib, mashed potatoes from Costco. That's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Chen did actually get me really nice quality matcha, and then I'll be reviewing those in later vlogs.